Thank you, Mona. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Listen, they weren't playing. This is kind of exciting. This is Love and Hip Hop New York. This is season 10. But they rolled us out with not one, but 2 episodes. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Love and Hip Hop New York. This is season 10. It's the premiere issue. We got 2 hours of straight up New York. This was exciting for me because, as you all know, I came into this late. And I started doing Love and Hip Hop after Jimmy and Chrissy and all of them. They were all gone. The Erica and Senna. When I came into Love and Hip Hop New York, all those people were gone. I missed all of them, Olivia and all of them. So I am really excited to try to get in here and get some of the backstories, you know, and really get it down and see what's going on. And it's going to be a challenge, but I'm going to do it. And listen, I got my people with me, and if I got something wrong, y'all, ciao, the fact checkers, baby, y'all will get me straight on it. But we're going to do this, and it's going to be good. So, like I said, 2 episodes. Let's get started. First thing, we see Chrissy and Jim. So, it appears that Chrissy and Jim have basically been separate but together, if you will. And from what I know of Chrissy and Jim, that doesn't seem straight. I expect anything from them. Between Jimmy and his mom and Chrissy and the way they move about, none of that surprises me. They're a very complex group, so it's cool. She was actually in Miami, and she's now back in New York, okay? And the first thing, she wants to clear the air with Kimbella and Jewels. Now, I remember the story with Kimbella, honey. I saw the fight back in the day when, of course, I seen that. It was all over the place. So, I know that's all rocky, but she wants to clear the air with that. And you know, why not? It's been so long since it actually happened. Next thing we roll into, Yandy is having this event. Until Freedom is a prison reform organization, and she was actually being inducted onto their board of directors. So she's kind of making moves. You know, Yandy doing what Yandy does. Remy is there. She's actually off parole now. So she's done with that. So no more having to be in the house at 8 o'clock and all of that. Kimbella actually did show up. Her and Yandy have kind of buried the hatchet. You remember they weren't getting along. They haven't been getting along at all with each other, but they kind of buried the hatchet, and they're not, you know, at each other's neck anymore. Jonathan was there. Jonathan and Juju. And it's Jonathan. Oh, God, Jonathan. Jonathan's just messy. Like, they just put Jonathan in there. Jonathan is a bone carrier. Jonathan's just messy. He just can't help himself. But he basically lets out that, hey, Chrissy is back. Chrissy's back in town. And listen, Yandy, not here for Chrissy. Period. She's just not here for it. I was around. Now, of course, I was around for that last little bit of Miss Chrissy. The very last bit of Chrissy, I was there for that. Right before Chrissy left, that's when I come in, okay? And when they had that little kerfuffle in that little nightclub and all of that, I was here for that. So, yeah, she ain't here for the whole Chrissy situation. Kimbella, like, naturally, she whooped your ass. So, you know, it is what it is. So, let's move on. We're going to get back to all of that. We're going to touch back on that real quickly. But Sin and Joe, y'all know I think Joe Budden is so sharp. But, so Sin and Joe Budden, okay? Listen. So, after we seen them get engaged and all of this kind of carrying on, Sin basically broke the engagement, and she moved out. She moved out. So they're separated. We find out later during a conversation with Papoose, Rich, and Joe that Joe allegedly cheated with a stripper. Sin, I'm not so sure that she completely knows all the details, but has an idea that there was some infidelity due to some texts and things in his phone. Okay? So, while he was on tour, she pulled one, baby. She dashed. She literally left. She left. And took everything and moved on out while he was on tour. He come home to an empty house. So she won up on him. While they were sitting there, Papoose, Rich, and Joe, Papoose checked Joe and told him, you're totally wrong, and you need to go make it right with Sin and fix it. Just go on and make it right with her and fix it, or don't fix it, or whatever. But y'all got the baby and all that stuff. You got to make it right with her at some point anyway. Okay? So you got to do that. Later on, we actually seen Joe and Sin, and it was a whole kerfuffle, okay? She ends up snapping out, tells him he's lying. He's like kind of playing like the little Jedi mind trick, and he's real calm and looking at her like, well, what are you so upset for? Well, wait a minute. Joe. And I get the feeling that she doesn't really know all the details of what the infidelity was, but she went with her gut feeling. She got enough of a gut feeling that she pulled up and she left. And I'm like, that looks really ugly, especially with the fact that they kept on fighting less about her not getting enough sex from him, and this, that thing, and the other, and all of these different things. And then you actually go out and cheat. Like, where'd he do that at? But okay, whatever. She left up out of there and told him to take her bike off, called him a bunch of liars, cussed his ass out, and went on about her business. I was like, ooh, Joe, that's a mess. Anyway, moving on. We see Remy and Papoose. Remy's working on her album and trying to figure out the balance between work and home. This whole motherhood is starting all over again, because you know her kids are a little older. Her kids, it's a little more easy to maneuver. Now you got this baby. It's a whole other ball game. So that's pretty much her thing. That's what we're going to be working with Remy, I guess, this season. We're going to see her trying to do some balance. Okay. And you know that's going to be, child, we like Papoose and Remy, but it's like, okay, child, y'all are just there for the love part of Love and Hip Hop, because y'all storyline don't really move me like that. It's just real cute, but like y'all not the exciting couple. Y'all are put in there for the buffer, so it's not just all mess. You know what I mean? Chrissy and Kimbella come together, child, and I was like, uh-oh. That's like, where's the security? So they sit down. Funny enough, Kimbella accepts Chrissy's apology, and then they start talking about Yandy. And it kind of seems as though, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but it felt more like making an alliance against Yandy, as opposed to Kimbella, you have straightened things out for the most part with Yandy, and maybe trying to get Chrissy and Yandy to mend fences. It seemed more like an alliance, and it just wasn't a good look. That's just what it looked like to me. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. We're going to see how it play out, though. Okay, so dig this. Remy has this big celebration, and everything's black and white. It was cute for her, you know, being off parole. And everybody is there. Everybody's there, okay? So some stuff was going down, naturally. Papoose performed like this short little performance, talk about them and their black love and all that. Of course, y'all know we love Pap, so that was cool. Move on. Child, listen. Fat Joe was there. He's talking about he's real excited about her new project dropping and all of that kind of thing. So, you know, everything's just going real smooth at this party. And then in walks Safari and Erica Mena. I said, oh, Lordy. So they're over there and everything's fine. Baby Joe roll up behind him. I said, uh-oh, where's the security? And they roll up and Joe hugs Safari from the back. I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, so we found out they are good now. They have fixed things since the last time we seen them, and them two are good. But who he's not at peace with, we're thinking is Richie. So Rich Dollars walks up, and I'm like, oh, come on, let's see. And Rich extends his hand to shake Safari's hand and basically offers peace. And Safari accepts. Boom. You know how men do things. Boom. No drama. It was cool. Because see, it gets real touchy when the men get to fighting. The women, they just separate them out. But when the men get to fighting, it gets real touchy. So it was cool. Offered the peace. Erica wouldn't even shake Richie's hand. She just was, you know how her face be all tight, and she was giving him the blues. So I laughed because Joe and Rich had gone to the side. And that damn Rich, so tacky. He said she wouldn't even shake my hand. I wanted to spit on her. I was like, now, Rich, that say a whole lot about you, don't it? She didn't want to shake your hand, so you wanted to spit on her? I was pretty appalled by that comment, but I was like, somebody you used to lay up with. And y'all done had y'all time. Like, I mean, y'all dogged each other. Y'all did stuff to each other. You want to spit on her? Yeah, all right. Well, I guess. See, I'd have been real mad with my ex a time or two for years. Like, literally, I broke up with my ex and didn't speak to him. I didn't speak to this man for 6 years. But I ain't never wanted to spit on him. I ain't never wanted anything bad to happen to him. I just wanted him not to talk to me. But someone that you have laid up with, you want to spit on them? No, I wasn't feeling that. I wasn't feeling that at all. That was really a bit much for me. But okay, Richie, whatever you say. So here's how we end our first hour. Chrissy and Kimbella show up together, baby, and everybody was giving this. Ooh, and everybody, including Remy, was looking for where is the security. And that's how we ended the first hour, okay? I said, oh my goodness, a mess. So it didn't take long. Chrissy and Yandy get the chance to actually talk. There is absolutely no progress made whatsoever. And Chrissy basically, I think it was like in a confessional moment, she's like, you know what, girl, you could still get a slap, honey. She's mad as hell with Yandy. And Yandy's like, I ain't think about her. I ain't feeling it for her at all. Cares less. And it's that same old argument. And something that Yandy said really does make some sense to me. It's this whole feeling like, because Yandy says, you know, I don't think it's my glow up that she can't take. And Yandy got some ways about her that are not so great. But when it comes to Chrissy, and this is just from what I see, it's kind of rings kind of true. I've always kind of felt like that. Like, Chrissy can't get past the fact that you used to be an employee and now you feel like you're on my level. It really does seem like an issue. It really does seem like an issue. And then that came up later on, you know, it's like she feels okay with me being the employee, but not as being her equal. And I kind of have to agree with Yandy, because whenever I see what goes on with Yandy and Chrissy, that's how it comes off. That is definitely how it comes off. She talks down to Yandy like, bitch, you ain't shit. You wasn't never shit. And if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be shit. Okay, and that could be true. That if it wasn't for y'all, she wouldn't be shit. But she has actually excelled to where she's really not shit. Like, are you kidding? So I kind of do feel that energy. I really do. I feel that energy. But yeah, very interesting. Anyway, it ended up coming up, you know, whenever there was a little conversation with Chrissy. This is after the party. The party's over. This is after, and they didn't tear up the party. They just like went their own way. Chrissy, Kimbella, and Jonathan actually sat down, and Chrissy was talking about, you know, she's part of this ladies millionaire club. It's an investment group, and they basically flip houses, and they're making all this money, and they're dealing with this millionaire that we end up meeting later on. His name is Greg. We meet him. He's basically Yandy's business partner. He's a multimillionaire. Okay. So she goes through all of that, and Kimbella was saying, you know, oh, I'm really interested. I'm interested in being a part of it, and that whole kind of thing. So they started talking about the Yandy thing, and even in the midst of her talking, I got that feeling, that whole feeling of, so the bitch ain't on our level. I don't know. Y'all tell me in the comments what y'all think about that. But that's what I get. I'm like, wow. Okay, cool. Anyway, so let's move on. Yandy. And before I said, Chris, that was actually put out on the table. Chrissy says no, that's really not it at all. That she just don't like the way she moved. She don't like the way she moved, and she didn't like how in their business she was. She was managing Jimmy, but it seemed like she was too much in their personal business, talking about how he was spending money and stuff like that. But again, we know that Jimmy did used to drag Yandy into a lot of their business stuff, and their friendship did overstep the lines of just a regular manager, because they called themselves brothers and sisters. She would do cover-ups for him and everything else like that. So I think a lot of that took some problem, made some of the friction and some of the problem. But at that core of it, I do think that Chrissy feels like she is Chrissy and Yandy. She still talks to her like that. You got to know that I'm up here and you're down there. I'm, you know, he's my man and this, that, and it's in Chrissy's mind, they're like this, and in Yandy's mind, they're like this. Like, girl, you're more like, you were like a sister-in-law, you know, and me and him just happen to do business. And Chrissy was more like, girl, you're not really none of my sister-in-law. Jimmy is all enamored with you. You're an employee, bitch. And that's what I see. Anyway, let's move on, because I can stay on that forever. We're going to move on. Yandy, Sin, and Rich Dollars. So Rich Dollars and Sin is cool. The two that used to screw Erica Mena. Now them two are cool. And they basically, everybody feels like Erica pretty much is like a Black Widow. They literally are like saying that they feel like Safari has changed since he's been with Erica. And they were like laughing. You know, Erica can't stand Yandy. They were like, child, blink if you need us to save you. And, I mean, they were really clowning the whole relationship. But they feel as though he's changed with her, that he wants to be married, he wants to have a baby, and at any cost. Then they brought out this whole little situation about there's some girl from Jamaica who claims that her and Safari was engaged. Well, Safari offered her the same engagement that he offered Erica, basically right before, like a slither of time before he offered it to Erica. And this girl supposedly has texts and receipts. So we're going to be seeing her, I'm sure, in the very, very near future. I said, oh my goodness, a mess. A whole man. Now, I have to say, I do feel like Safari has changed. I definitely feel like he's changed. He doesn't, and I'm not going to say that like I'm blaming Erica, but he don't seem like the real silly, like he's not as fun as he was. He's a little more serious and stuff. And I don't know. He does seem to have changed. And maybe it's just that he's taking a more mature approach with things or whatever, but he's not the fun Safari that he was before. He's not the whole clown Safari. But again, I guess he would. I mean, you're actually in a relationship, committed relationship and all of this. You would have to kind of change. Because kind of remember when he was with Nicki Minaj, he was more quiet. We didn't know the clown Safari until after he was not with Nicki. And then he was like the clown. So, you know, maybe the clown thing comes out for attention, but he really might just be this laid back person. You know what I mean? But we like the clown. But anyway, moving on. Remy and Fat Joe sit down and have this real live conversation. And I was like, wow, okay. And, you know, they are like brother and sister. So he gave her the conversation raw, uncut, and punch in the gut. She's nervous about releasing her new music. She was saying that the expectations are so high. And yes, they are. Yes, they are, because they basically threw awards and things like that at you when you came home and different things like that. And now we're expecting you to hit the scene the way you used to hit the scene. You need to be on top of it. You need to prove yourself as such. So she's talking about the whole juggling motherhood and that thing like that. Fat Joe basically told her, listen, we ain't using none of that as no excuse. You going to come out here and do what it is that you need to do and do it the way you used to do it. No excuses. And ain't nobody trying to hear it. You got to do it. He told her, he said, there's women, there's African women that got a baby in the front, a baby in the back, and selling coochie and still pumping and making it work, making it do what it do. So no excuses. Nobody trying to hear it. You need to get out here and do. He basically gave her the real, and it was tough love. And, you know, Remy, I don't know that she would have accepted it from everybody like she accepted it from Fat Joe. She was even crying a little bit, but she got what he was saying. I was like, yeah, because, I mean, that's kind of what it is. If she releases some garbage, you know the people are going to drag her. And that's just the way it is, and he knows that. That's just the way it is. Moving on. So here goes a blast from the past. And I ain't know nothing much about her. Tahiri and Erica get together. She was in L.A. She then came back now from L.A. She used to date old Joe Budden for like 5 years. And then there was some infidelity and whatnot, and they broke up. Okay? So now Erica is out there, because, you know, she ain't really got it for sin, all like that. She's playing matchmaker. She basically is trying to put that bug out there. Like, girl, yeah, you and Joe, I mean, y'all done come full circle. Y'all could hook up. Y'all both are single. I said, Erica, you being a messy bitch. Being a messy bitch. You know what you're doing. And Tahiri seemed a little open to things. I said, okay, whatever. We're going to see. And Tahiri put a bug in her ear and talked to her. Said, man, girl, do you know that you got everything in order for you and Safari? Do you actually trust Safari? Because she's doing this whole thing with this wedding, and she's rushing this wedding. Why does she want to get married before she has this baby? We all know you got pregnant before you got married. Like, you didn't get married and then you end up getting pregnant. We all know that you got pregnant before you got married. So there's no real big shebang about that. Who cares? And like really, like, you're not a white dress candidate in the first place. Now, if you're going to do things so traditional and you know, if that's what you're trying to do, because you're not a white dress candidate, sis. But I just don't get it. And I don't understand when people do that, period, because I would want my wedding pictures to be some of the most beautiful pictures that I've ever taken. I wouldn't really want to be pregnant and doing my wedding, because you could always do it afterwards. It's nothing but a big party. The wedding is nothing but a big party. That's all. It's a big party and an excuse to put on a real pretty dress and take some pictures. And then you're going to exchange some vows. You could go exchange the vows right on downtown and throw the party whenever. So I don't even understand being pregnant and get married at the same time. It just never made sense to me. But people do it all the time. I just, yeah. And it's not to say, let me get this before we start arguing. It's not to say that you can't be pregnant and beautiful in your wedding dress. But I mean, come on. Being pregnant is one thing. Being at your wedding is another. They are two completely separate things. And I just don't see the purpose. At your wedding, being pregnant is an issue. How much can you party? Can you really enjoy yourself? Are your feet swollen? You know what I mean? There's like all these extra things that you don't even think about. Oh, my wedding day, you know you're going to be nervous and this, that, thing, and the other. But now you being nervous and you being careful because you're pregnant and you got all these other body things that could actually go on with you. Being all up, being all anxious and stuff like that could definitely make your blood pressure go up and your feet swell and different things like that. So that's the angle I'm coming at. Why are we lumping the two things on top of each other and whatever? We go on forever. Some people are going to be mad at me anyway because that's just what they want to do. They like to be mad at me. So it's cool. But y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying. What is the real purpose in Erica Mena having to be married, shotgun, and most of us look at you like, anyway. So what's the big deal, sis? Anyway, so that's my thing. Moving on. All right, so Yandy, Sin, Jonathan, and Kimbella sit down. This is messy as hell. So this is when that little alliance thing came up, and I was like, so old Sin kicks it off. She's talking about the blogs. How Chrissy and Joe were in the blogs saying that they lost one of their houses. It went into foreclosure. The mortgage hasn't been paid since 2010. Yandy throws out there, oh, let me pull it up. So she pulls it up on the phone. Kimbella's sitting there being very quiet because, she just got to, this cool place with her girl, Chrissy. And they had already talked about, it's like, girl, I was surprised to see y'all two walk in there together. She's like, oh, yeah, no big deal. We trying to figure it all out, just like me and Yandy figured it out, and this, that, thing, and the other. Okay, girl, cool. So Yandy throws out there, 2010, yeah, that's right around when I stopped managing them. So she throws shade, right? Which I was on board with that. That's cool. I stopped managing them and shit went left. And that's literally what happened. Because it all ended up being due to mismanagement on Jimmy's behalf. So, yeah, absolutely. Yandy throwing shade, but Yandy telling the truth. Anyway, so Kimbella says, that's messy. That's messy. And then she kind of, Yandy was like, girl, really? And she's like, you sitting over here telling me now that you're taking, now not only are you're friends with your girl Chrissy, now you're taking up for Chrissy. And telling me I'm messy. She's like, see, that's that stuff right there. And I was like, Kimbella. And she was saying, that's why I see you and I ain't friends right now. Because of that same shit. I was like, did we just go 10 steps backwards? And it went into all that she got up, and it got to be like a whole, well, first, before she really got in her feelings, I thought, Jonathan, it really bothered me. When Jonathan said, what, is you scared of Chrissy? You think she's going to snap on you and beat you up again? Now, I thought that was totally out of order. Damn, Jonathan. I said that was so totally out of order for him to throw that in her face. I thought was very, very shady. And that was not anything that a friend would actually do to you. Throw in your face to somebody that whooped your ass years ago. But I was like, wow. Wow. But, Kimbella, you being a messy bitch just the same. And I understand you not wanting to be a part of it, but all you had to do is just sit there and just be quiet, and you'd be cool. It's all on video. All you had to do is just sit there and be quiet. Kimbella fires back with Yandy, you not my friend, and accuse Yandy of not helping her in that whole situation. Well, first of all, Kimbella, one, you didn't get jumped. Okay? Two, Chrissy literally just beat your ass. That's all that happened. So it really ain't on Yandy to... You put Yandy in a crazy spot right there to even think that what y'all was supposed... You think y'all was supposed to jump Chrissy and Yandy worked for Chrissy, plus Yandy was like brother and sister with Chrissy's dude? No, Yandy did what she was supposed to do. When it first got started, Yandy tried to stand in between y'all. Chrissy damn near knocked Yandy down. She tried to do that, and then Chrissy came around the other way and she snuck you. Yandy was behind like two other people. They showed the footage back. So that was kind of low. That was a low blow, and to try to come at the friendship. You was on some dirty stuff with that right then. I don't feel like Yandy was wrong in this situation. Yandy don't like Chrissy, flat out. So any shots that she chooses to take at Chrissy are just shots that she took at Chrissy, whatever. So I don't find Yandy wrong. Jonathan, you're completely wrong, because how dare you try to throw things into the face of your so-called friend. And then when Kimbella got up and walked off and told him, you're messy boots, he insulted her wigs and her spandex. He's talking about her clothes and everything. I was like, Jonathan, that was totally out of order. Totally out of order. And these are the problems when it comes to Jonathan. We keep on, we say, okay, Jonathan, and we let Jonathan slap, but Jonathan messy as hell. Jonathan's messy as hell. That was out of order. So Jonathan was wrong. Kimbella, you're wrong, because how dare you go back into some mess from the past and try to accuse, you're trying to make yourself right about holding this alliance with Chrissy, which is ridiculous. Which is ridiculous. And at least she said, Sin, I ain't mad at you. But Sin was messy as hell too, because Sin brought it up. Sin brought it up and knew that there was like a little... Sin was messy as hell too. Y'all be paying attention to Sin. Sin is sneaky as hell. I was like, oh, a mess. That was a whole table full of mess. The only person at the table that I don't really hold to know was Yandy. Yandy did what Yandy was supposed to do. She's supposed to shade Chrissy. Chrissy ain't none of her goddamn friend. Chrissy ain't none of her friend. Every time she gets a chance, she speaks down upon Yandy. And Yandy, you found some tea out that when I stopped being management for you, your business went upside down. She was supposed to shade Chrissy. And she was supposed to laugh because it was a hee ha ha. Your shit's fucked up. Maybe if you hadn't shaded me, you wouldn't be in the problem you in. Yandy did exactly what she was supposed to do at that table. The rest of them three, hot mess. And that's the way I felt. Moving on. Okay, so then Chrissy, we see Chrissy and Jem. When Chrissy finds out about what happened in the blog, she done cussed Jem out, which is what she should have did. Because now you done put me in a real bad place. I'm running around talking about I'm at an investment group, and I'm doing all this, and now I got to explain to people, well, wait a minute, bitch. If you can't keep your own investments together, what make you think I want you dealing in my investments? Whole lot of money on the line. You got her looking crazy in these streets. Because Jim never said nothing to her. He knew things was going on. He never said anything to her. And later on, when she ended up having a conversation with Greg, baby Greg just was right there with her, told her, listen, I ain't going to jump out of the partnership with you, but what you got to do is you need to clean this up. And clean it up publicly, because it looks a damn mess. And if you can't clean it up, you're going to owe me a whole lot of money. Flat out. I said, I know that's right. And he, you know, they had an event coming up, and he was like, that event will be perfect. You'll get the chance to explain it. I know it's hard. It's going to be embarrassing, but yeah, bitch, you better clean it up. And don't mess up my money. So I was like, wow, that's a mess. Okay, so Safari and Erica end up having this little party for just, you know, some... like they call them VIP people, I guess, like the people that are the main people that would be a part of the wedding or whatever. And Joe was also there, you know, some closer friends were there. Here goes Erica. She's steadily playing matchmaker, honey. So we see Tahiri and we see Joe. Tahiri flirting with Joe, putting her butt in his lap, and I said, it's going to be on and popping. And she talked to Erica about a prenup. I said, okay. Said, well, where we're going to hear that again? Well, I'll tell you where we're going to hear it again. The last thing that we actually saw was Safari and Erica. They go to this lawyer's office, baby, and they're going to talk about their assets and trying to get everything protected and trying to get their finances and everything straight, you know, as they're moving forward again, because they're like trying to push this wedding. So they got everything. They got to get everything in line. And she busts out, baby, with the question about the prenup. And Safari's whole face just dropped. And the lawyer says, well, y'all want me to step out for a minute and y'all talk about Safari says, get on out of here, honey. And he asked her, says, why didn't we actually discuss this at home? You bring me in front of this dude that I don't know, and now you talking about a prenup. Like, I ain't even... And she's like, well, what, you don't want one instead of the other? And then he started listening to her. And then she throws out there, you know, well, if you cheat, I get everything. I want to make sure that I'm protected. He was like, whoa, hold it, back up. What is all of this? What is all of this? Said, this is just proof positive that you're moving too slow, too fast, and you don't know who you're moving with, Safari. And I think his eyes is opening up a little bit right at this point. I said, ooh. She started trying to sweet talk him. I was like, that don't go for them tears. Figure out where her mind is. We all know Erica's calculated and she's shady. And she just told you, if you cheat, I get everything. Child, if you sign that, you're a fool. You're a fool. But whatever. So that's where we ended out. Listen, I enjoyed the 2 hours. It was interesting. The whole way through the 2 hours. Love and Hip Hop New York is back, y'all. It's season 10. I'll catch y'all next week. All right, later.